Hello everybody and welcome to the long overdue premiere of Jump 2. Today we're going to have another set of 25 challengers who are going to attempt to get just a little bit farther than before. In the last tournament we had Strafe Helix failing the final jump of stage 3. But now that he failed, it starts all over. The first two obstacles are mostly the same, with the swing here being slightly modified, the catapult being slightly modified as well, making the landing a little bit easier. This obstacle definitely took out a lot of people in the last tournament, but then the tables are exactly the same. In the last tournament we saw the likes of Joey Davis and Philly Season failing this obstacle. And then over here we have the paddle steps. We saw this take out Goblin C4 in the last tournament. And finally, the speed bars, which I don't believe took anybody out in the last tournament, but there were some close calls. This obstacle is a real tough foe when you're low on time and you're racing to the finish. And to clear, all they have to do is hit that explosive within the time limit and they'll be through. So on to our first run, the first run in a very long time that we've seen on Jump. Alex24 here, gonna have a minute and a half. Oh, okay. Let me try this again. Petrillo Fam 4, he's gonna have a minute and a half to clear the first stage. This is his second appearance on the course. I believe in the first tournament he failed the catapult along with many others, and he is going to very quickly be able to get some revenge here. He's actually going on a very good pace, and well, it appears we have some technical difficulties, and as per the rules, the timer will be stopped until the technical difficulties are done. You can see that his connection is not great at the moment. He's having a lot of issues with it right in the middle of the run. Well, we may be getting off to a rocky start, but there we go. We're back on track. So this tournament was run a good bit of time ago, and I know it's been a little while since it was supposed to go up. It was supposed to go up last November, and it's currently May. But these tournaments are going to be coming a little bit more frequently now. But Petrillo here is really struggling with the third table, and a very dramatic tilt there. He almost failed that. He was almost out very early. Well, not very early, but earlier than he would like. He's onto the paddle steps. These are very deceptive jumps, and they're very big. Hard to get the right angle and land exactly where you need to on them. But he is onto the speed bars with 30 seconds left, which if he does it quickly, I mean, he's really got nothing to worry about at all. But he is safe jumping, but he's gone at a quick enough pace throughout the rest of the course that it's not going to matter. Petrillo Fam 4 is going to clear the first stage in 14 seconds. That is his first clear on Jump, and we will see him in stage 2. Next up we have King Solomon 360, who is a newcomer to this course. I found him in matchmaking and he agreed to do a run. He said that he actually used to do some old jump maps back in Halo Reach, so who knows, maybe this man has a little bit of potential. Sometimes these randos can surprise you. Oh, a very quick release on the catapult, maybe a little bit too quick. He just walks down and immediately presses it. We're going quick fire here. We're already on to run 4. This is Fernando UNSC. He's actually notable for being the two-time champion of Rando Warrior. His second time was a co-championship. I believe he actually did get first place in that tournament. The time came down very quickly. We had Weapon Matt there translating, as Fernando only speaks Spanish and none of us speak Spanish. He's quickly on to the swing. He was actually clearing the stage in practice and he's over jumped it. It always really sucks to see that happen to a competitor with a lot of potential. But here's Sane the Legend, a prolific jump map maker and the unadulterated lover of the spring jump. Oh, an early jump there, and he can't. That's 2 swing failures in a row. Not a good look for Sane. It's kind of unfortunate that these good jumpers are going out so early. Next we have I'm so shift-faced. This is the first time he's done a run on jump, and he's quickly onto the catapult. He's known as being more of a racer. I haven't had a lot of interactions with this guy. I know he's a racer. I know he's an HBL guy, but he's quickly onto the tables before even 30 seconds are up. So could shift here actually have a chance at clearing this? He's having some struggles with the table. Looks like the competitors are having a little bit of trouble with these tables today. He does not get quite high enough, but that was a valiant effort by Shift Face. Next up we have Joey Davis. These runs are coming faster than I can keep up with. Joey Davis went out in the last tournament in the same exact place that Shift Face went out. Joey Davis in the recent months has really been up and coming. He's been getting a lot of great runs, and he's really looking really solid. And he was upset about failing the tables in the last tournament, so he's here to try to redeem himself just a little bit. And he is on to the third one. This is what he failed in the last tournament. Learns from his mistakes, but he times it too late, and he's going to fail in the exact same place he failed last tournament. That is really rough. Next we have the man who loves to show off, Siren. He's on his second appearance here in Jump. In the first tournament, he failed the catapult, I believe. But he actually put a bit of practice into this tournament, and he's a very skilled jumper. We have a big audience out there of an entire 5 people. You can always tell how skilled of a jumper he is. He sometimes fails because of strange mistakes, and sometimes a little bit of showboating. And Halo Sasuke, oh, he's going the bottom route. Not a lot of people do this, but in the most recent Halo Sasuke, I believe he failed by attempting to spring jump onto the first obstacle of stage 1, and it did not go well for him. He lands a little bit too far in on the tables. To get those tables going, you really have to land on that red ring, and he is really struggling with this. He's got a good bit of time, but you really don't want to be messing around with this so much. And that was I'm not sure what happened there. He managed to somehow stay alive and still get a good dismount on it without taking too much time. He's onto the paddle steps, handling these very well. Nothing that he can't handle. He's on to the speed bars with 30 seconds left. This is the same that we saw with Petrillo at his time, and Chris is going about the same pace as Petrillo, so unless a fail happens here, we can assume that he is going to clear on his second appearance. And he is on to the battery. He hits it, it explodes, the wall turns green, and now he is abusing the scripting mechanics that I have in there. It's a lot of fun, I understand that, but kind of a shaky run from Siren here. He really kind of scared me on the catapult, and then on this obstacle here, he really just was all over the place. You see, he's landing inside of that black circle, and that landing in that black circle will not usually get you the tilt that you need on this, but he manages to keep it alive after almost jumping the gun, and he makes it up onto the next obstacle and gets himself onto stage 2. Now we have another man who wants a little bit of revenge, another man who failed the catapult in his first appearance, Flamosaurus. Now, Flame's always a good sport about tournaments. I don't know if I've ever run a tournament the Flame didn't show up for, and I've run a lot of tournaments in my day, but he's really looking for some revenge on this third obstacle, the catapult. He hates to fail, and he's very determined, and he lands on the catapult. This is something he couldn't do last tournament. But Flame is very determined to always be improving his game. A very solid jumper. Maybe had a little bit of a slow development in his earlier years, but he's coming along greatly now. And you see he uses that jumping on that red ring on the outside is what got him the leverage he needed to get that tilt that put him up to the platform. And he's on the paddle steps now, and onto the fourth one, and he's onto the last obstacle with 40 seconds. Flame is kind of embarrassing this course right now, but he is going to enjoy the luxury of the time that he has saved. And with 30 seconds left, 28, 27, 26, he is on to the second stage with 23 seconds left on the clock still. And that was a pretty phenomenal run by Flame. He really, the clear time did not reflect how good that run was. You could tell he really used the cushion of that time to make sure he was nailing all those jumps, which is absolutely what you should do. That is way more important than any quick time. But here's Tricky Cyrus. He signed up very early on in the tournament. After Jump 1 came out, he seemed very excited to do a run. And you can tell he's put a lot of practice into it, as he's already onto the catapult with a lot of time in hand. Onto the head slide, taking the top route. This seems to be what the competitors are kind of agreeing on today. And onto the tables very quickly. He's making a good pace of this. He lands on the red ring, gets a good amount of tilt, and he's up. What a solid table run by Tricky Cyrus. He's onto the the paddle steps, onto the second one, onto the third, nailing all these jumps right in the center. Like, you can tell that Tricky Cyrus has trained his butt off for this tournament, and he is onto the speed bars. Save jumps there. He wants to nail these jumps. He does have 30 seconds left, and an over jump. Oh, I don't understand how you rush that jump when you have 35 seconds left on the clock. That is going to be a mistake that Tricky Cyrus will regret and hope to make up for in the next tournament. But here we have a competitor who hosts his own course. His fourth tournament just went up, Cheese Warrior. Now Cheese here, he failed the catapult in the last tournament, and he gets a big pop off that, and he overshoots the first pillar. Before I could even give him an introduction, he is out. He very quickly got to the catapult, and he very quickly lost here. Let's give him another second just so we can acknowledge that he was here. He almost got the momentum to get right into the head slide, but then he almost managed to pull back and land on the pole, and he just ended up with the exact wrong amount of momentum. Now here is another host of the course, Sonic Fan. He just uploaded his newest tournament, I believe. I think he either uploaded it or he's about to upload it. So check that out. And he's running his next tournament right now. He doesn't have a lot of spots left, so if you're watching this, send him a message and ask if he has any space left. But Sonic Fan, in his last appearance, he failed the catapult here, which he is now up. A weird technique there where he doesn't jump, he just ran. But yeah, in the last tournament, he actually went through the mesh and landed in the water. But Sonic here at a breakneck speed before a minute's even up. He's beat the tables with a minute left on the clock. Onto the paddle steps. I mean, you know, when you're going this fast in a run, there's part of you that wants to sit there and try to, you know, beat the stage as fast as you can and see how much time you can leave on the clock. But I mean, you have that time, use that time. Slow down for a little bit, make sure you're nailing these. Sonic almost missing that jump. That would have been tragic after this run, but Sonic of all people, it just beat the first stage with 29 seconds left on the clock. I really cannot believe that I saw Sonic put on a elite first stage run like that. Oh, and a little tricky thing by Goblin C4, and he's onto the... okay, someone's showing off today. He gets a very, very intense corner jump around the second obstacle, and before I can even catch my breath, he's onto the catapult. I mean, last tournament he flew over this, and this tournament we're not quite getting the same treat, but he's already onto the tables with, you know, believe it or not, he's going slower than Sonic was. I don't know how Sonic was going so fast, but Goblin C4 is already onto the paddle steps with 52 seconds left, and he's onto the third one. Is Goblin also about to clear? We've already had a good bit of clears happening all in a row, and Goblin here is onto the last obstacle with 40 seconds left. Here's where you just want to use that time cushion and just kind of enjoy it. Oh, some sketchy save jumps here, and he overcorrects! Goblin C4 overcorrects after such an amazing run. Look at this trick jump he does here. He lands on the far side of the swing, and for absolutely no reason, jumps around the right side of the post, and then gets the most unbelievable sprint jump I've ever seen. A perfectly timed crouch and gets onto the catapult. It was just unbelievable seeing that just happen right in front of me. But Goblin C4 comes up short and does not manage to clear. And strangely enough, we are on to run 14, which will be weapon mat, and we already have 4 clears. 4 clears already in only the first 13 runs. So last tournament we only had 7, and so we're not even halfway through this tournament. Well, I believe we are. We are a little over halfway, and we are already talking about doubling the clear totals from last tournament. We already have 4 weapon mat here, who also failed the catapult in the last tournament. The catapult was devastating last tournament. Now that the catapult's a little bit easier, it seems like there are a lot of competitors that are kind of getting through. A little bit of showboating from weapon mat, it looks like there. He's onto the tables with a minute left. These competitors have really stepped up their game this tournament. I don't think I quite expected everybody to bring as much game as they have this time around. He's already onto the paddle steps, and he's really kind of cruising through the course. He's not really going at a breakneck speed like some of the guys have been going, but I mean, he has 40 seconds going into the speed bars. You know, I mean, it's kind of unbelievable how fast these competitors have been going today. It is a quick-paced stage 1, but holy moly, you probably should have turned down the time limit a little bit. And with 22 seconds left, 20 seconds left exactly, weapon mat is going to be moving on to the second stage. That'll be our 5th clear, 2 runs away from breaking the clear record from last tournament. Of course, it's kind of a record by default, but here is Alpha Puma, who unfortunately it appears he is in his twilight of his career. I believe he has a couple more tournaments lined up he's going to compete in, and then he's not going to be competing anymore. So this might be the last time you see Puma on jump, and he fails the catapult. That was an unfortunate fail. It doesn't really seem like that was entirely his fault, but sometimes momentum and physics will do that to you. But here we have a newcomer, a notable newcomer, Soul Reaper 1025, somebody who really... He's shown how good he can be on other courses, but this is the first time he has competed on jump, and he's quickly through the catapult onto the tables with about the same pace most people have had this tournament, about a minute left, and onto the third one, lands perfectly on that red ring. That is what I love to see. I love to see people landing right on that red ring, getting that perfect tilt. It is scrumptious to look at. He's on to the 3rd paddle step while I'm sitting here talking about some sort of obsession I have, and onto the speed bars with, again, 40 seconds. We're kind of seeing the same run over and over, just with switched out colors, and Soul Reaper is easily making it on to stage 2. 27 seconds is going to be the official time, one of the better times that we've had. I believe the best time we've had so far is actually Sonic, who cleared with 29 seconds. Now, here we have a walk-on. Last tournament, Kilmanoodle was our walk-on, and he managed to clear, so... Oh! Ruby Queen is not going to do what Kilmanoodle did. What I was referring to in the last tournament is Kilmanoodle got a higher spot because somebody backed out of the tournament. Same thing happened here with Ruby Queen, where I had a spot reserved and somebody backed out, so I got a walk on, and Ruby Queen did not manage to hold up to my expectations the same way that Kilmanoodle did, or the way that Kilmanoodle set them. Now here we have the big yellow boy, Hunter Unit 751, surrounded by, I believe that is Snoz, Siren, and Soul Reaper, the one who we just saw run a second ago, I believe. A little bit of British power going on here, and then a little bit of the West Coast Americas. Now we have Hunter, who is lining up and doing a entirely too long intro. Perhaps this should have been cut out, but we do get to see everybody commit suicide, so that is always fun. Hunter Unit is about to take on the course. In the last tournament, he was another victim of the catapult. The catapult had an unbelievable amount of failures last tournament. I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 12. Hunter, we know that he's going to bounce back eventually. A very solid jumper. On every course he's ever competed on, he's always proved that he is elite, and he has maintained that status for years. And now he has bested his performance from last tournament. He is on to the tilting tables at a bit of a faster pace than most people have been doing. Does not get a great land on the tables. I don't like to see that. He clears it easily, but it wasn't pretty. Onto the first paddle step. He jumps over, just barely lands on the second paddle step. While we have a little bit of a glitch going on with the nameplate, so gonna have to work on that. He is just barely hanging on with the tip of his toenails on those paddle steps, scaring the crap out of all of us. We're all sitting here wondering what the hell is this man doing. And with 30 seconds left, he's onto the third speed bar. And just a simple jump here, and he lands right on the corner, and he's going to clear with exactly 20 seconds left, matching Weapon Matt's time. Alright, and now, speak of the devil, we have Killamanoodle here, the first person who cleared in the last tournament. He's hoping to back that up. We had 7 clears in the last tournament, including Killamanoodle, and then we had Snoz, Rog, Chumpy, Crown Ferret, Irish, and Fireball and Strafe for a total of 7. But Killamanoodle here, he kind of shocked everybody in the last tournament, coming out of nowhere. He's not somebody that anybody really knows who he is. He keeps to himself. He messaged me and asked me to run the tournament, and I agreed because I had someone back out last tournament, and he showed up and made a great run, making it about mid-stage 2, which is, you know, for somebody coming out of nowhere like that, that's pretty amazing. So we have this rookie competitor who, again, is putting on an amazing run. I mean, he has 50 seconds left and he's on the paddle steps, which I guess is kind of the pace everyone's doing. It's just amazing to me that everybody is doing this. And with 40 seconds, the same pace that a lot of people have had, he is on to the speed bars. On to the first, taking his time on the second, a little save jump there, a very accurate turn, and he lands on the third bar. Killamanoodle lands on there, on the final platform, and clears with 22 seconds. We are up to, we'll get to Snoz here in a second. While I'm counting the amount of clears we have, you can watch his footage from the last tournament. Killamanoodle was our 8th clear, which is unbelievable. We have broken the record from last tournament. And here we have Snoz, who in the last tournament kind of shocked everybody by defying expectations and cleared the first stage. It was an amazing moment to see. He's somebody who works hard, and he really, you know, he's on everybody's side for jumping. Big advocate of the sport. He's been around for a long time, of course. Has a final stage under his belt, no matter how old it is. He's off to the course here, trying to follow up on his success. I will say Snoz hasn't practiced quite as much as maybe he should have for this tournament, but he is skilled, and he's on to the catapult. He beat this in the last tournament, and a little bit of a weird launch there, and Snoz bounces off the back of the pole, just barely not being able to land on that. That is really tough to watch. We all know that Snoz has the ability to make it back to stage 2, so I just hope that he manages to do it in the next tournament. I'll definitely be on him, making sure he's practicing for the tournament, because I'm sure he's even forgotten that this tournament exists, because I ran it like 8 months ago. Alright, now we have Rog, who also cleared in the last tournament. I believe he failed the vault ball in the last tournament. So here we go. He is onto the rolling hill eventually. There he goes. Alright. Rog here, of course, he hosts his own course. We all know that. If you're here and you don't know about Rog's course, I'm not sure what you're doing. We're having some issues seeing. But, some wonky camera work on my part. I apologize for that. But Rog is quickly onto the tilting tables, about at the same pace everyone else has been doing it, because everybody has been just kicking the hell out of the stage. And a little bit of a weird, just barely makes that. Did not look good on it. Onto the paddle steps. Quick pace. Onto the second one. Ooh, not liking those landings, but he's getting through it. Six the third one. 6 the fourth one. Just that second one was the one that made me have a little bit of suspicion. With 37 seconds, he's on to the first speed bar. I'm sorry, I forgot how to speak English. And And onto the third bar he goes. A little save jump just for good measure. Backs up, lines up. He has 20 seconds. He has all the time in the world. And that's going to be a 21-second clear. I don't know if there's been anybody yet who hasn't cleared with less than 20 seconds. That'll be our 9th clear of the day. And Atlantic champ here, Chumpy as he is now known. This tournament was run right after he changed his gamer tag, so if this seems a little outdated, you know. Chumpy here is on his 2nd appearance in the last tournament. He had a blunder on stage 2 where he decided to use a technique where he shot the vault ball and it just flung him right in the water. So he's hoping to be able to get back and get a little bit of revenge on the vault ball, which is, I believe, a little bit harder in this tournament. Chumpy, we all expect him to clear here. There's nothing on this course that really should have any challenge for Chumpy. And he is on to the 3rd paddle with 40 seconds left, going at a little bit of a slower pace than some of the other guys have been going. But, you know, he's getting through. It's not about speed. It's just about, you know, clearing the obstacles. Because if you make it to stage 3, no one's gonna say to you, oh, Chumpy clears with 20 seconds left. Almost the slowest time we've had today. Oh, next we have Irish here. He shocked everybody by making it to the 3rd stage last tournament. I have never seen this man so happy. He was the happiest man in the world on that day. I am so sure of it. He went out early in stage 3, failing the Sidewinder, but here he is. Irish, or Crown Ferret 19, whatever he likes to be known as, he is onto the course. And you can see with the black font here, he is the first competitor to run today that made it to stage 3 in the last tournament. So he got 3rd place, notching a top 3. Very impressive. He's onto the catapult. Can he beat this? And, oh, a weird run on it, but he lands it quite nicely. No, but what I was saying earlier is fast times really don't matter, because if you make it to stage 3, no one's going to be like, yeah, you made it to the last obstacle of stage 3, but did you know that Atlantic champ cleared with 35 seconds left? He failed the first obstacle of stage 2, but he cleared with 35 seconds left. You know, it's like, no one cares. Like, after maybe a month, it stops mattering. But let me talk about the actual run in front of me. Crown Ferret 19, Irish as we know him, is on to the speed bars with 37 seconds. Just a couple seconds slower than his peers. He is taking his time on these speed bars. He really does not like this obstacle. He is not a fan. He lands on the 3rd. He only has 20 seconds left. We're going to have our first sub 20 second clear. Irish clears with 14 seconds left officially, and we are on to our next run, which I believe that puts us at 11 clears already. And we still have our 2 best competitors to go. So DHG Fireball, he made it to the flip-flop in the last tournament, a very deep stage 3 run, notching a 2nd place. If it hadn't been for Strafe's amazing out-of-nowhere run, then Fireball definitely would have gotten his 1st place. He came into the last tournament at number 25 with a lot of hype behind him, and I'd say he lived up to that hype. He didn't get a 1st place, he didn't make a final stage, but it was the first tournament. He made a deep stage 3. He was the only one to make it past, or one of only 2 to make it past the cliffhanger, or to the cliffhanger. One of only 3 to make stage 3. He dominated the first 2 stages in the last tournament, so I think if there's really any sort of wager about who the biggest threat you know, now and in the future is for this course, DHG Fireball has to be on that list. If you run a course that Fireball competes on, he has to be on that list, especially because right now he is beating my stage with 30 seconds. I can't stand this man. Fireball just broke the land speed record. Stray Felix here, you can see here he was on the pegboard in the last tournament. He got 1st place and nearly made it to the final. He did a technique I really didn't like. He tried to sprint down the length of the jump, and you see that long pole there. He tried to sprint down the length of it and make the jump that way. I do not advocate that technique. It is inconsistent. Unless you can nail it, it's not worth it. Anyway, number 25 here, he got first place in the last tournament. Definitely not how I expected him to do in the last tournament. I was calling him for a stage 2, I'll be honest. But he defied expectations. And here he is on the first stage again, trying to match that run. A little bit of a struggle there on the catapult, but he is through. And he is onto the tilting tables. Now let's see if he can get a scrumptious land on this third table. Right on the red ring, boy. Oh, too far forward. Disappoint. Get out of here. Get out of here. As long as you clear, it doesn't matter, but please make me happy and land on the red square, especially when I have to sit here and watch you not be able to do it for a while. Alright, but he is onto the paddle steps with 40 seconds left, a little bit slower than some of the other competitors have been, but he is still making it through. Probably still going to clear faster than Irish, just a guess. And I say that because I do assume Strafe is going to clear. If I put somebody at number 5, I am assuming they will clear. And he's taking his time on this. We're going to get our second sub 20 second clear. Unless Petrillo cleared with less than 20 seconds. He's going to clear with 12 seconds, the slowest time of the tournament, as far as I'm aware. And we are on to stage 2 with 13 stage 1 clears out of 25, which literally means over half the field cleared stage 1. That one is painful. We have 13 attempts on stage 2. This is not how stage 2s are not built for 13 competitors to be running them in one tournament. Well, you know, maybe unless it's a bigger course, but this is a 25-person course. We're little over here. But stage 2 has remained mostly the same. The first obstacle was modified to be made a bit more difficult. Time travel is the same. Salmon ladder ball, soccer ball swing. I think the vault ball is actually the same. I know I said it might have been modified, but it is. I'm pretty sure everything about stage 2 is the same, except the first obstacle has been modified. And that's because stage 2 kind of did its job last tournament. We only had 3 clears out of 7 attempts, so we had a less than 50%. But here we have Petrillo Fam. This is his first attempt on stage 2, as you see notated down on the bottom. He is not somebody who really makes much of a bang, but here he is. I mean, he got number 2. Like, what do you expect? But here he is on the salmon ladder, doing a horrible job on the salmon ladder. But he's finally up to the top rung. He's onto the ball swing. I don't know what he's doing. I guess he thought there was another rung. He's really struggling. This isn't a good sign for when you're on stage 2, when you're struggling this much. He's onto the vault ball, which is by far the hardest obstacle on this stage. You have to be very precise. Can he land it? And Petrillo's through with 13 seconds left. He kind of has to hurry here. He has 10 seconds. Petrillo really needs to stand up and get moving. 5, 4, 3, and he just barely clears with about 2 seconds left. Just barely for Petrillo there. He could not have cut that much closer. But next we have Siren, somebody who probably should have made stage 2 in the last tournament. Oh, he is really working the angles on that thing. He's onto the time travel very quickly across it and onto the salmon ladder. This is going to be his first real challenge of the stage, and he is having a little bit of an issue getting up those rungs. That's going to waste him some time, but as long as he keeps quick on the rest of the obstacles, he should not have to worry about it. Onto the ball vault, making good time. He still has 30 seconds left, and he's over halfway through the course. So if he can manage to not fail, he is through. Or we might be about to get 2 stage 2 clears in a row. Oh my goodness, we already have 2 stage 3s lined up. These competitors have really brought their A game today. Petrillo and Siren both already clearing stage 2. 13 of the competitors in the field clearing, 2 more of them making it to the last obstacle. Next, we have Flame clearing stage 2, we have Sonic clearing stage 2, and we also have Weapon Matt clearing stage 2, which puts our total up to 5 clears out of 5 attempts. So now we're going to come on to Soul Reaper 1025. I'm not going to lie, honestly, at this point, I'm hoping for somebody to fail. If I have a 100% clear rate on my stage 2, I don't think I'll ever be able to live that down. But he's through the time attack as a warthog flies from the side of the course. He's spring jumping up the same ladder as many tend to do. Almost over jumped it a little bit, but very smoothly through the soccer swing. You can tell that Soul's put in some time to this course. But he's onto the ball vault. Can he clear this as the others have? And he overshoots it. I will be honest, he looked so smooth that I really thought he was going to clear that. But we're on to our first big threat of this tournament, and for total victory, I mean, and that is Hunter Unit 751. I'm happy now that I don't have a 100% clear rate, now that I know that's not going to happen. Hunter here, he's always a threat for stage 3s. He's a very skilled jumper, a very precise jumper. I think some people might underestimate his ability sometimes, but I mean, look how he handles that soccer swing. No issues. Maybe British people are just better at soccer. Maybe that's what it is. But he's onto the ball vault. He has beaten obstacles like this in the past on Smokey's course, but he overshoots it horrendously. He gets way too much there. And now we get our walk-on sensation from the last tournament. In the last tournament, he failed the ball vault, I believe. I believe it was the ball vault. It's a little hazy for me to remember because there was some issues with the clip. But he is up to the second rung, kind of taking a weird technique where he's jumping on the side of those. I don't really get the point of that, but he's onto the soccer swing. And, goes left. That's really weird. He lands on the stopper, which is allowed. And he shoots the ball to get it moving. You can tell Kilmanoodles also put some time into this course. And he does a Wrangler technique where he has a double jump on the ball. Very risky. But we are about to get our 6th stage 2 clear, with Kilmanoodle clearing the 2nd stage in 8 seconds. Well, 6. Oh, here's Rog coming up with a 7th. Here is Atlantic Champ coming up with an 8th. And we also had Crown Ferret, who unfortunately could not beat the time travel. He had issues with that in practice in the last tournament, and it got him this tournament. Now here we have DHG Fireball, who is definitely a big threat to clear this stage. You can see he's already blitzing through Fireball failed the flip-flop last tournament, and you know he really wants revenge. He's springing up the salmon ladder. This whole thing, he is really nailing it. And so now we're looking at, oh my god. Okay. From what it looks like happened, he got he rode up on the pole while it was still an angle that he could walk up on. And as the angle decreased, he fell, and the momentum he had from falling knocked him off the ball. But now we have Strafe Helix, the first place finisher of last tournament. His 2 other previous stage 3 comrades, I can't talk, they made it to stage 3, or they didn't make it to stage 3. I'm so sorry, I need to focus. But can Strafe be the only one of the tournament 1 stage 3 goers to make a return appearance, make a little bit of history, be the first consecutive stage 3? Gets a lot of momentum on that and overshoots it even more than Hunter did. We have had all 3 stage 3 finalists in the last tournament have now gone out on stage 2 on different obstacles, mind you. But here we are on stage 3. This is where it's going to really get challenging. You know, this isn't an especially hard course, but this is where, if you want to get to the final stage, you really have to start stepping up your game. The tri-slide's back, flying bar is back. The cliffhanger has been modified because it was beat by both people who attempted it in the last tournament. The flip-flop and the rest of the course is the same. These obstacles are not for the faint of heart. I mean, these mongoose obstacles are very, very tricky. You have to be very precise with something that, you know, it feels like you're trying to kill a fly with a bazooka, you know, which sounds a little harder than you might think. But we're going to kick off stage 3 with our first competitor, Petrillo Fam, who I really did not expect to make it this far. This is kind of a breakout run for him, especially on this course. This is obviously his first attempt on this course. Or on the stage. This is going to be everybody's first attempt on the stage. And he is staring down the tri-slide. It doesn't look hard, but if you try to rush it, it will fling you off and you will not have a good time. It's a razor thin ledge you're balancing on there, you see. It's very tricky. But he is onto the flying bar. He lands it nicely. And this is a new obstacle in the tournament. I forgot to mention that. Oh, he is cleanly through it. But we had the Sidewinder in the last tournament, and now we've introduced the flying bar. I apologize for that. But Petrillo Fam, the first person to ever attempt the flying bar, has cleared it. It is not a particularly hard obstacle, but this is going to be his first real challenge as the cliffhanger. These ledges are so skinny. I know that you've watched other jump tournaments where, you know, you see skinny cliffhanger ledges. These are at least half, or at most half the width of those other ones. These are tiny. They are so hard to stick on, and this is going to be Petrillo's big test. He has to make that big jump, and now he has to stick it. That's a big jump to make in the first place, and then sticking it and getting onto the next obstacle is something that Petrillo has done fantastically. Unbelievably, Petrillo is the third competitor to ever reach the flip-flop. The cliffhanger has been beaten on the first attempt. The new cliffhanger was beaten on the first attempt this tournament. And now Petrillo is just eyeing down the flip-flop, assessing his next challenge. I don't believe he ever really got here in practice. It doesn't appear like he has by his reactions here. But this is going to be very tough for him. This obstacle is extremely difficult. You know, you have to be aware of where all four wheels are. You have to be able to time your revs. You have to be able to hang on to very steep platforms. You know, I mean, you can tell how steep this is by the issues Pedro's having, or Petrillo's having, just getting up it. You have to really kind of truck into it just to get onto it, which is what he's attempting to do. Not well. This does not bode well for Petrillo. Come on, Petrillo. All right, and he is through the first of the bends and immediately off. Petrillo just loses all traction and flies off the bottom of the flip-flop. And we are on to our next Stage 3 finalist, who is Siren. He is making a grand show of getting up on top of that. It's very hard to do. Me and him spent about 3 hours just trying to get up there once. But he has used it for his intro now. This is, of course, Siren's first attempt at Stage 3. He hasn't made a lot of Stage 3s in his time. He's not really somebody who dedicates himself much to ninja courses. He's more of a jump map guy. He's more of just a Halo guy in general. But here he is. He's onto the flying bar. These bars move as soon as you touch them. If you've watched Ninja Paradise, you kind of know the deal. Oh, and Siren really almost comes up short there. That was not ideal for him. And he is pushing the bar off to make sure he has absolutely sure footing for the cliffhanger. Quickly onto it. He's really kind of blitzing through the stage. Maybe a little bit faster than he should be. And he is attempting to stick the second ledge. This is tough to do, but it is necessary. You cannot get to that third ledge without sticking it. Now this is such a tough jump, and he does not make it. He attempts to get momentum, and he cannot build that momentum. Siren is the first victim of the cliffhanger, and we have had 2 attempts and 2 fails. Now next we have Flame here, who has had some really deep runs on Spartan Sasuke Stage 3s. he's somebody who, you know, when he puts his mind to something, he is going to make progress. And he decided that for this tournament, he was going to avenge his stage 1 failure in the last tournament. And he is attempting to do so. Is my computer frozen, or is that just the video? Oh, there we go. We're back. Anyway, as I was saying, Flame is somebody who, you know, that when he is determined, he is not going to stop for anything. He will run through a brick wall if it means that he is going to get what he wants. He will put in the time, he will put in the practice, he will put in anything he has to put in to get where he has decided he's going to go. And he's onto the tri-slide. His first attempt on the jump stage 3 has begun. Now, Flame's also the type of competitor where I do feel like he's going to have a long and successful career on this course. So, you know, you may want to pay attention for the first time this man ever touches these jumps. And, oh, a struggle on the flying bar, but maybe by design or by accident, he gets through it by skipping the 4th one. And he's onto the first ledge of the cliffhanger. He is really doing some sort of technique to make sure he is on there as much as he wants to be on there. And onto the second one, easily makes the jump. Now he just has to stick it. Flame is pretty good at these. And he sticks it very easily, actually. And he's doing some sort of sprint technique. But now comes the hard part of the obstacle, where he has to jump up to this 3rd ledge. This 3rd ledge is the killer of this obstacle. You've been sticking the whole time, but now you have to do it at the most intense level. And Flame is going to stick the 3rd one. He stuck the 2nd one so easily, but he can't stick this one. And Flame goes out on the cliffhanger, and his okay, his rivalry with the obstacles of cliffhangers continues, unfortunately. And you hate to see it. Now, here's Sonic Fan, who he doesn't see a lot of stage 3s, and, you know, him making it to this stage 3 is definitely a big deal for him as he's onto the flying bar. He's been putting in a lot of practice, and we are eager to see how far Sonic can get on this course. Oh, and he is not able to beat the flying bar. He's going to be the first victim of the flying bar. That was a very flash in the pan run there. And now we're on to Weapon Matt, someone who has really put a lot of work into this stage 3. He's put a lot of practice into dealing with these obstacles. Not sure what he's doing at the moment, but he's somebody who is I haven't really talked about him much this tournament. I think it's time I give him his due credit. He has been on a tear lately, beating every course put in his path. Getting total victories, stage 3s every tournament, and he has started perhaps a new stage 3 streak on jump. But if he wants to be one of the top competitors on jump, this cliffhanger will stand in his way. Petrillo managed to beat it, but everyone else who has attempted it so far, he springs onto it. That's a scary technique. Everyone else who has attempted this cliffhanger so far has failed it. So Weapon Matt, you can tell he's put a lot of work into this cliffhanger. You can see that everything he does is very calculated. He's the type of jumper that always makes sure he's prepared for what's put in front of him. And he makes the jump. Can he stick it? This is the tricky part of the obstacle. And he's getting short hops, and he lands it perfectly. Weapon Matt has stuck the 3rd ledge. As long as he doesn't mess up this dismount, he's onto the flip-flop. This is big. He is now the 4th person to ever defeat the cliffhanger and attempt the flip-flop. Can he be the 2nd person to ever defeat it? This took out Fireball in the last tournament, and it took out Petrillo earlier. Strafe did beat it in the last tournament, just barely. He really stressed me out a little bit while he was attempting it, but and he's onto the first incline. He's just got to get around this first bend is going to be the biggest challenge here. Well, I don't know about the biggest. The second bend's probably the hardest part. He's trying to stay straight. He's a little wobbly. He's crooked. I don't like that. But he's on to the bottom. This is the hardest part of the obstacle. Can he stay on? He's still on. and he's on to the second part, and he loses traction. He's off. Weapon Matt is not able to defeat the flip-flop, but you know he's going to be back in the next tournament. You know he's going to be trying his best to better himself and get farther. Next is Killamanoodle, another guy who I didn't expect to make stage 3, coming out of nowhere, making stage 2 on his debut in the last tournament, and, well, you know, as 7 others did, but also on his second appearance, making it to the 3rd stage. Which isn't a huge deal for oh, he just runs right over that bar. He does not care. It's not a huge deal for people to make a stage 3 on their second appearance. Oh God, he over jumps it. I was going to say, but since he is such a recent come out of nowhere competitor, it's kind of a big deal for him. But Rog here, he definitely knows stage 3s after running 19 tournaments, and me and him have attempted a lot of each other's stage 3s. Rog is a jumper who, once upon a time, was not good in the slightest. But in the past couple of years, he's really developed his game. Ooh, perfect on that last bar. Doesn't even move it. But here he is. If anyone knows cliffhangers, it would be Rog. He's lining this up, a perfect mount onto it. He didn't even need to do save jumps. He literally just stuck it right after jumping on it, but he sticks it anyway. Better safe than sorry. That's how stage 3 goes. You cannot rush stage 3s. You cannot take anything for granted. You have to be double sure on every jump you do, and he sticks it without a short hop, I believe. That's kind of sweaty. Onto the 3rd ledge, easily makes it. You see, Rog, he knows these cliffhangers. He's very good at cliffhangers. He's been building them for years, testing them out himself, and he is now the 5th person to ever beat the cliffhanger and attempt the flip-flop. It's going to be a similar story to Weapon Matt. Can he be the 2nd person to ever defeat this obstacle? Here he goes. He is now starting the flip-flop. Taking a little easy. Rog also does know his way around a mongoose. He's starting out this obstacle on this incredibly steep hill. He has had obstacles similar to this on his own course, I think. And, of course, the first 4 Spartan Sasuke tournaments, the 3rd stages were all mongoose based. So if anyone knows doing 3rd stages on a mongoose, it better be this man. He's coming down into the 2nd bend. This is where it gets really tricky. It is hard to hold on here, but you see he is not taking any chances. Watch that back wheel. It's just barely off. He's not letting it bump him off. Those front wheels are staying exactly where they need to be. Very nice precision by Rog. Now, the trick here is going to be making sure you don't overcorrect, making sure those back wheels don't fly off and drag you down like they did to Weapon Matt. You see he's keeping on that. He's keeping those wheels revving up on it, and he has a beautiful rhythm going right now. Rog is almost onto the downward, and he's through. Now comes for perhaps the hardest part of the obstacle, is the dismount. You have to turn around on this and dismount. It is very difficult. It is not easy in the slightest. But here he goes. He's going to attempt to. He's going to do a similar technique to what Strafe did. Maybe the best technique. Oh, he does it way quicker than Strafe did. Very nice by Rog. Kind of a masterful performance there. Something I don't really expect out of Rog very often. He's getting a lot of momentum on that, and I don't like it. But he is on to the devil track or whatever I called it. It doesn't matter. He's up on top of it very nicely, and he's proceeding slowly down the other side. And now is going to come the raised tracks that you just have to get up on. Oh my god, he almost comes off. His wheels almost come off the track. And he is on to the sky shooter. This can be very tricky. You have to get the perfect angle, the perfect amount of momentum to land on that other side. And he goes and he checks it out, checking his distance, seeing how far he needs to go. How far is he going to back up? He's getting pretty close to the edge. and he's going to drop his wheels off the back and get a big bump, and he goes and lands right dead center of it and very handily takes on that obstacle. He's onto the sky shooter. Now, a little bit of transparency here. In this run, he accidentally fell off the side of this platform. He wasn't attempting an obstacle, so he got back to here and continued his run. Falling off the side of a platform that isn't the obstacle is not a way that I want people to fail on my course, and I will always maintain that rule. But Rog is onto the pegboard. He is only the second person to ever attempt this. It has never been beaten. Strafe was the last person to attempt it in the last tournament. He made it all the way to the end and failed the final jump. And Rog's onto the fourth one. He completely overjumps it. Rog is off of the pegboard. Next we have Chumpy, the last man standing. He is onto the tri-slide very quickly on it. No funny business. Chumpy is here to make a statement to show that he is trying to lay claim to the status of the top dog on the jump. And doesn't even move the first two bars, doesn't even knock the third one off, and doesn't even touch the fourth one. He's onto the first ledge of the cliffhanger. Onto the second, handling this very well. Chumpy's also very good at cliffhanger. He's good at anything stage 3. He has beaten stage 3 before. He did clear stage 3 in Spartan Sasuke, which is a big deal. Not everybody just comes along and makes the final stage of a course like Spartan Sasuke. And he is onto the flip-flop very quickly, probably record time there, and he is wasting absolutely no time getting onto this obstacle. He has changed his mind. He has decided to use a different strategy, and I believe he is trying to, yeah, okay, so he doesn't want to make that 90-degree turn. He wants to, kind of a weird strategy, but I mean, it's working, so he's on to the incline. Chumpy would love to get a first place in this tournament. Right now he is in 4th, and if he, and he's coming off, Chumpy's in the water, and the tournament is over. Thank you everybody for watching Jump 2. I'm very sorry it took so long. I'm also very sorry that there's some editing glitches that were happening with the nameplates. I don't know why that happened, but thank you everybody for watching. If you're watching this, then Jump 3 has officially started doing runs. Please message my gamertags Wantron97 to do a run. Please show up. This third tournament is going to have 50 competitors in it. You do not want to miss it. After the performances we got from this tournament, we are going to have a giant revamp in Jump 3. It is time to up the game because the competitors have obviously upped theirs. Coming up next on my channel will be Aborigines 26, and then Jump 3, obviously, and probably a podcast at some point with Double Ump. So stay tuned to my channel, and thank you everybody so much for watching. Please subscribe or something and watch all my videos and donate money to me, please. Goodbye everybody.